So when I'm aware of where my lack of freedom is
Mm-hmm.
in the moment, and that's what I'm able to transmit through my music, and it happens spontaneously.
Wow.
So basically, if you punch me in the face right now, I'm gonna be very much creative after.
So,
So my name is Daniel Jar. I was born in Haiti, so I'm Haitian. I spent 10 years in Haiti before leaving to go to the Dominican Republic. So this is like, you know, nationality wise, on the surface, who I am, blah blah blah. I live in Santo Domingo for 7 years in the Dominican Republic. And then I left. I went to Montreal in Canada, and then I went to Europe, etc. And on the way, I explored my voice extensively and I became a singer. And everybody knows me as a singer right now. And it's really fun experience.
nice. So, uh, yeah, as you mentioned that you're a singer, there's always a kind of breakthrough moment for people to realize that, you know. So, can you recall that specific moment when it happened that you truly started believing that you had something to share?
I always knew that I was a singer in my head. So I always had a vision of myself singing in the future, for instance, on stage in front of other people. I didn't know exactly how my voice sounded, what was the sound of my voice. But I knew that I had a voice that wanted to express itself. So it started in my head. Eventually, I started to sing like by myself in the car when like for instance, my family went into the supermarket, and I would sing on my own in the car, or if I was left at home by myself, I would sing there, and then little by little, I started to play the guitar, and the guitar helped me um, start to sing. Right when you have that anchor that allows you to do something else,
Mhm.
you're more predisposed to do that something else, right?
Wow, nice. So, there's this music that you wrote, like I think it's your first original song, and it's called "I'm Danny Boy," which is your singer name, let's say. But I want to know a bit about this story that I already know, but if you can share about a bit about it, that
So
would be nice.
it's my first original song that I started to share with everybody. That's what makes it so special. I decided to be completely open with the fact that I called myself I'm Danny Boy, and that I sang any words that came with that title. And I started to, when I was in the Dominican Republic after graduating from university, I panicked because I was like, what am I going to do with my life? And I applied for my master's. And my study visa arrived 2 days after the last arrival deadline to go do my master's. And I panicked and I felt sad about that. And after 1 month trying to figure out what can I do next, I I made the most spontaneous decision to go to the States with my guitar and sing this original song that I had written called I'm Danny Boy. And I started to share that with everyone. And people loved the I'm Danny Boy song specifically. I would sing other songs and everybody would be a bit distracted. And whenever I sang that song, I saw everybody's focus. The atmosphere was really special. And it was an amazing experience singing that in the States. But then I got carried away by that idea that I had to do something commercially with I'm
Mhm.
Danny Boy. So I went to record that song in a professional studio, and I decided that I'm Danny Boy would become a brand, it
Mhm.
would become a movement, and then I went to Los Angeles with the intention of building the song. And even though I stayed with myself during the process, I feel like I lost touch with where I was coming from when I started to sing that song, which is an, a very much innocent place, very vulnerable,
Mhm.
very honest.
Yeah.
And I got distracted by some sort of corporate way of doing things, which is very prevalent in our world today, unfortunately. And the funny thing is that I never received the song. So life, I guess, made the decision to never receive the song, to never send the song to me. Not life. The producers in the city where I recorded the song
Yeah.
just decided not to sing the song. And I was very intrigued by that. It hurt me a lot. I left Los Angeles having done nothing with the song, and I came back home and I got a refund for the song that I paid for. And I feel that there was a signal. It was life telling me that I am meant for something that is much greater than the corporate world. And let me pay you to record a song.
Mm-hmm.
I think that my who I am and my essence is more aligned with just performing for the person in front of me, just sharing my voice with them,
Yeah.
and that's all that matters. I think.
Wow. That's beautiful. Also, like you mentioned that that focus that people had when you were singing that song. What do you think was what do you think was special about it?
I think it's the fact that I think people could sense the fact that I went to the States by myself, with myself, and they heard that and they received that in a raw way, raw quality. Like they saw me,
Wow.
and the vulnerability I feel of such a moment was what attracted people's attention.
Wow. Interesting. So now like uh you're in a place where yeah, it's the next step that is supposed to happen, and for sure like it's always not never sure what step that we're gonna take. So um where where do you see yourself in a few years from now? Because I know you want to take it really seriously. So
Every time, there's a lot of talk out there to visualize your future and where
mm-hmm.
you see yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I do feel there's some degree of importance to
Mm-hmm.
those kind of this kind of way
Mm-hmm.
of building your future, at the same time I realize that every time I start to envision something concretely by using my mind,
Mm-hmm.
it's I'm predisposed to perhaps losing that sense of innocence that was there when I sang "I'm Danny Boy"
Mm-hmm.
in those bars in the U.S.
Yeah.
Because I start to want to control my reality, control what's going to happen. And the funny thing is that I'm not saying that visualization is not important. Is that right now in this moment I'm coming to the realization that I visualize already without doing it in addition.
Mm-hmm.
Like if right now I start to think about how I think about myself in a few years,
Mm-hmm.
I will realize that I have added some additional layers that are superficial to some thoughts about myself and who I want to become that are already there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious to start to explore those thoughts after the interview. It would be interesting.
Wow. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. I have there's something that you mentioned that was super interesting. A little creativity and the universe will give you a really cool effect. I like that. You know, what was that moment when you wrote that? Like, what triggered that sentence from you?
So I went out on my balcony with
Mm-hmm.
my guitar and I started to sing. And it was very spontaneous. I didn't think about it. And while I was singing, I decided to film my performance. And then when I saw the video of me singing, I realized that the sun would come at one moment, and then my own movement while I was singing would hide the sun, and then the sun would come up again. And it was my doing, whether I wanted it or not, but it created this really cool video, this really cool effect. And I shared that, and people saw it.
Yeah.
So being able to do something spontaneous in a moment and share it with others, and you're talking to me about this moment right now,
Yeah.
I think it's really amazing because you start to become aware of to which extent you can make things happen.
Yeah.
Instead of saying to which extent you can control your reality,
Mm-hmm.
I like to say to which extent you can make things happen, and those things you don't necessarily know what they're gonna be.
Yeah.
That's where the difference with controlling and making things happen
I think
come.
that's what's exciting about life too. Like, if you could predict everything, it would be kind of boring. It's the surprises that makes us feel alive. I guess.
It's very funny that you say that because the song that I wrote is called that I was singing in that moment was called is called I Feel Alive.
Wow. That's awesome.
And it's a song that I wrote after all the Danny Boy traveling and experiences
Hmm.
that explains the process of leaving home and coming back again.
Yeah.
And that's what I was singing in that moment.
Wow.
And when I make the parallel between your question about that moment and what I said, what I wrote, and the fact that I wrote this song, there's something in common there, which is that I took what I was experiencing in the moment
Hmm.
and I gave it a voice and I gave it a structure,
Yeah.
right? In the same way that I wrote the song after my experiences, I also wrote this message after a spontaneous experience that I had, which
Wow.
was to go on the balcony and sing.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. Um, there's something that you participate in that I'm super interested. Uh, you had reached to me about this too. It's some value that I really value in my own life, about listening. And there's this thing that you participate in that is called free listening. So can you talk about this too? Because I think it's super interesting.
So free listening is the invention, in a way, of I say in a way because free listening. I'm sure that those two words have been used in the past, but in terms of what it represents as sort of a movement, it came through thanks to Benjamin Mates, an incredible teacher who's in Los Angeles, who has this movement called Urban Confessional, where uh, people go into the street in groups, not necessarily in groups, but they hold a sign that say free listening. I'm available to listen to you.
Hmm.
And any stranger in the street that sees that comes and they talk as much as they want. And in that moment, they're not a stranger anymore
Yeah.
because you're connecting, you're there for that person, you're listening to them on a deeper level. And I had the great pleasure to meet Benjamin when I was traveling in Los Angeles for my Danny Boy exploration.
Hmm.
And not only did he help me calm down when it came to my excitement of becoming Danny Boy, etc.,
Hmm.
but he inspired me to be able to come back home and do the free listening movement on the island. I did it do the free listening movement. No, just do what the movement prones, which is to go in the street with a cardboard, which I did in the Dominican Republic one day. I went on free listening day,
Hmm.
and I listened
Yeah.
to I listened for a few minutes to a few people that came by, who talked to me, and it was a very humbling experience.
Hmm.
And yes,
So
I
what
think
what was the process of it? Like you just listen to them without saying anything. Do you have a conversation with them beforehand or?
so. You give them the priority. I
Hmm.
think that's the most important thing. So beyond any judgment that you might have about the person, beyond any opinion that you might have, beyond perhaps sometimes even the words that the person say or the stereotypes that come with how the person looks, beyond anything, you listen deeply to that person just to be there for them, just because they need it, just because the world needs it right
Yeah.
now. And that's where true connection comes about. And it's not that there can't be an exchange. There
Hmm.
can be an exchange, but the exchange, I feel, um, has to be about the person. It
Hmm.
has to be about what they would like to say. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that some people passing by have put the conversation more on the other person sometimes,
Yeah.
because it is an exchange at the end of the day.
Yeah. Nice. So uh another question that is interesting. What makes you feel alive?
You know, all of it, like
Hmm.
the experience we're having now, the sound of my voice that I'm listening to now, the image I'm seeing in front of me, the the sensations that I experience, for example, in my chest right now,
Hmm.
the wind that I'm feeling. So the present moment, definitely, and also everything that comes with the problems we have as human beings, individuals too. For example, wanting to be attached to the past, thinking about someplace else right now. All of it is interesting and is part of a process that makes me feel alive.
Yeah, nice. So for the musics, because you probably have like a few musics that you wrote. Most of the time, like it depends on the person, but most of the time, where does your inspiration come from?
My experiences come from any
Inspirations.
any you know, it's funny you ask that because now I'm thinking about it. It comes from any restrictions that I might experience in the present moment. So when I'm aware of where my lack of freedom is
Mm-hmm.
in the moment, and that's what I'm able to transmit through my music, and it happens spontaneously.
Wow.
So basically, if you punch me in the face right now, I'm gonna be very much creative after, because it sucks to be punched in the face,
Yeah.
you know.
Wow. Interesting. And that Danny Boy music, like because it talks about so many parts of your life. Um, what, where, when is it? How long did it take you to actually write that song?
Oh, I wrote
Because
that
of your
song.
very first song.
It took me 3 months,
Okay.
starting from the moment where I came back from university to go back to the Dominican Republic where my dad is living now.
Yeah.
It took me 3 months. There were some disappointments during those 3 months,
Yeah.
and I'm Danny Boy comes from it comes from the realization that I'm going into adulthood, being 21 years old.
Yeah.
So it's funny that my answer to that transition
Mm-hmm.
to becoming an adult in terms of what society thinks an adult
Yeah.
is, at what age they become an adult,
Mm-hmm.
is to say I'm Danny Boy. Like I'm still. It's almost like I'm still a kid no matter what. I'm
Yeah.
still I'm still a kid at heart no matter what, and I don't want to lose that. And oh my God, I'm at home right now. I see that some people are talking to me about starting to work,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to lose myself. I'm Danny Boy,
Yeah.
you know.
Wow.
So yeah, I think there was.
So how do you react to all these kind of influences trying to pull you there, pull you there?
I put my eggs in different baskets. So if I'm talking about someone at one moment and I value their opinion greatly and they tell me something and I give importance to that thing, I find a way to talk to someone who is completely different as soon as possible so I can hear another perspective. I mean, I could do that even more. I don't do that enough, but I do it in different ways that don't have to do necessarily with talking with someone.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps I would just go to the gym and work out. So I try to find differences in my experiences that allow me to explore different parts of myself. Because perhaps the part of myself that goes to the gym and works out is not the same as the part of myself that is listening to someone telling me I have to go and work.
Yeah.
You know. So basically, the answer is to live. I just live as much as possible,
Wow.
and I find great comfort and great feeling of being alive in the differences of experience that one can have.
Wow. Beautiful. So you have a gift, it's for sure, which is like the music part of it. Um, yeah, like for example, for now, what's the main message that you would like to share through this gift?
Hmm. I just had goosebumps. Just keep exploring. That would be the message, definitely. Keep exploring and yeah, keep going and have fun.
Wow, beautiful. Would you like to actually share like one of your compositions? I don't know which one that you feel inspired to play right now, but if you were to share one of them,
Huh.
which one?
Definitely.
Which one would it be? then?
I don't know if I should sing I'm Danny Boy or I Feel Alive. Hmm.
Which one resonates more to the feeling that you're having right now?
I have to close my eyes. I Feel Alive, definitely. Let's do it, baby.
Let's do it. I feel alive. Let's
This
set it
is
up.
I try to be a better man. I try to be a better friend. I did the best that I can. Came back home, fell down again. Fell in the river, deep in the sea, where people go, but they can't breathe. I feel alive, 'cause I can see the light. Down in the waters, deep in the shadow, where people go, but don't know how to come back to life. Oh, there is a light. I do the best that I can. I come back home, rise up again. I gave my hopes and my plans to come back home, rise up again. I feel alive, 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 alive. I feel alive, 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 alive. You don't need to be happy to be free. A little love is all you need. I'm not saying you gotta love misery, but you can dance and you can see. You can move mountains, you can go far, you can go places you've been before. And I don't know why, but you will feel alive. Down in the waters, deep in the shadow, where people go but they don't know how to come back to life. Oh, there is a light. I do the best that I can. I come back home, rise up again. I gave my hopes and my plans to come back home, rise up again. I feel alive, 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 alive. I feel alive, 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 alive. I try to be a better man. I try to be a better friend. I did the best that I can. Came back home, fell down again. Fell in the river, deep in the sea, where people go, but they can't breathe. I feel alive, 'cause I can see the light. Down in the waters, deep in the shadow, where people go, but don't know how to come back to life. Oh, there is a light. I do the best that I can. I come back home, rise up again. I gave my hopes and my plans to come back home, rise up again. I feel alive, 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 alive. I feel alive, 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 alive. You don't need to little love is all you need. I'm not saying you gotta love misery, but you can dance and you can see. You can move mountains, you can go far, you can go places you've been before. And I don't know why, but you will feel alive down in the waters, deep in the shadow, where people go but they don't know how to come back to life. Oh, there is a life. I do the best that I can. I rise above and move mountains. I get my hopes and my plans to come back home, rise up.